this is still being weird, but at least everything else seems to be functioning, so. We'll see. Okay. Just leave that over there. So, for anyone who is okay. Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to this stream, this episode, whichever it is. If you happen to be on YouTube after the stream, welcome to the channel and the episode of whatever this is going to turn into. For the YouTube stuff, I don't know if it's going to be broken up into plants, like the individual plants. That's probably what's going to happen. But, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. But, there might be some spoilers, shall we say, for the current Botany Book Club pick. You know, Firekeeper's daughter. Now, so far, we have gotten about a third of the way through. As of Monday, we're going to be exactly halfway through. So, like, where is it? Right now we're here. And on Monday, it's going to be here. So, this is a 9-chapter section. So, there are particular plants and fungi that are mentioned in the first 18 chapters that are relevant to the plot. So, hey Honeycomb, how you doing, friends? So, if you don't want to see potential spoilers for particular plot points in the first third of the story, you might want to hold off on watching this or being in the chat. So, that being said, we've got chokecherry and 2 kinds of psychoactive mushrooms in the other window. So, let's pop over to that. Alright. Also, I'm rather glad that I managed to figure out the lighting situation, because the overhead, it's supposed to be, you know, a 10-year bulb that got put in sometime in August, I want to say, is out. And there's no way for, you know, your average human to change it. So I don't know what's happening with that, but that's why we're back to this guy over here. Oh, I should not have done that. Oh, okay. Just give me a sec, I'm seeing spots. Ah. Right. Okay. Alright. So. Yes. I will say, right, I am rather enjoying the story itself and the characters. Just the way that Adonis is reacting to Jamie specifically is kind of getting on my nerves. To every other character that there's some kind of antagonistic relationship with, alright, fair enough. That, I see that, but anyway, so yeah, because otherwise it's I mean, which that works, but you know, also partly because I forgot that the desk lamp over there can rotate so that it's just like shooting light over here. Anyway. Yeah, no, he does. He does. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay. That's the wrong screen. Alright. No. I'm still the wrong one. Come on. Also, just a housekeeping thing. In an attempt to have the audio be actually decent. Yeah, alright. One sec. There we go. That's my point, honestly. Like, in an attempt to have the audio be half decent, at least when I'm doing any of the recording and whatever, I have a mic on. I switched to the lavalier lapel mic, but because of that, I don't have headphones right now, so I can't actually hear if there's like extra sounds. So yeah. So you know. But in the event that the rain sounds and tunes is a good sound that you would like to hear more of, Shadow at Noon just posted a new... No, it's old. Okay, never mind. It's Stardew Valley, basically. So, that's what we were listening to. Anyway. Anyway, so, we've got Choke Cherry. Where is it? Come on. Where are you? We've got Pluteus and Psilocybe Carolupus. carolips, which are the psychoactive mushrooms, and the chokecherry, or Prunus virginiana. Virginiana. There we go. Prunus virginiana. I do not Stardew, but Toma and Co. do Stardew, and sometimes it's kind of cool to watch a lot of them play it, but wow, okay. Is the audio any clearer now? Because apparently the mic wasn't fully plugged in. But no, I do not Stardew. That is a question. Okay, so we've got alright. Let's see. Not right now, thank you. Alright. Okay, so we've got USDA Agricultural Research Service, poisonous plant research. So, we know going in that the info is going to be emphasizing the poisonous nature of the plant, regardless of anything else that it does, that it's associated with. So, there's that. Okay. So, chokecherry is a perennial that bears masses of white flowers in long clusters in the spring. Small ripe cherries range in color from purple to black. Leaves are dark green and glossy. Western chokecherry and black chokecherry cause livestock poisoning when drought and overgrazing reduce the ability of grasses and other forage. Availability of grasses and other forage. Animals become poisoned if they eat large quantities of the leaves in a short time. Both sheep and cattle may be poisoned by chokecherry. Although most losses occur when feed is scarce, a few animals seem to prefer this plant to other forage. It's like, okay, just as a thing, right? There's it probably depends on how you write it. But just a thing, right? Like, okay. Animals in a wild adjacent environment that are foraging for their own foodstuffs. I should not be surprised that there's some that are like, oh yeah, this thing that, like, I mean, I know I'm technically not supposed to eat, but like, I want to eat it. And then they die because they've poisoned themselves. Like, because, I mean, people do the same thing. So, yeah. Should not be surprised that that's a thing that certain animals do. But, like, the whole self-preservation thing that tends to be stronger in most animals that I've met than it is in people seems to be rather absent from that equation, you know? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Cattle sometimes are poisoned by eating leaves on branches trimmed from cultivated chokecherry trees. The toxic substance in chokecherry, hydrocyanic acid, is found principally in the leaves. Leaves become less toxic as the growing season advances. Okay, so it's mostly the young leaves, which would make sense because they need something to keep critters away from eating them. So if they're very toxic, then most critters will not eat them. So, yeah, alright, fair. Chokecherry and arrowgrass both contain hydrocyanic acid. Other plants with cyanogenic potential include Sudan. I can never remember if it's Sudan or Sudan grass. Johnson grass, reed canary grass, white clover, bird's foot trefoil, mountain mahogany, and Saskatoon serviceberry. Okay. Chokecherry grows in damp and fertile soil. It's found in thickets on hillsides and canyon slopes. It appears as a shrub or small tree among willows, poplars, and alders that grow along mountain streams. Chokecherry begins growing early in the spring. Its growth is slow at high elevations. Chokecherry trees may reach a height of 20 feet. They are often found growing with other trees and bushes. The berries are not considered to be toxic and are often used in jelly and syrups. Okay, so they do have all the plant info there. Chokecherry may grow as a shrub to about 4 feet in height. It's found in thickets along hillsides and on canyon slopes. Okay. Sudan. Okay, Sudan. It's one of those that, like, I can never remember if it's the actual pronunciation or if it's been an Americanized pronunciation, and that's just what I'm going with. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Although the hydrocyanic acid content of chokecherry leaves varies, ingestion of about a quarter of an animal's weight in leaves can be fatal. Makes sense. Wilted leaves as well as fresh leaves are poisonous. Poisoning occurs when an animal consumes a relatively large amount over a short period of time, 30 to 60 minutes. Hydrocyanic acid inhibits cellular respiration and the animal's ability to use oxygen. Signs of poisoning begin rapidly, and death may follow within a few minutes. So, basically, it's got some poisonous properties to it, but it's mostly if you eat a quarter of your body weight in half an hour. I don't know how that would translate to humans. Don't know how, like, if humans are out here trying to eat leaves like that, but that seems to be a thing. But the fruit itself should be fine. However, excuse me. Actually, let me see if I can find it in here. Why am I flipping through there? I marked off the next section, and I'm flipping through that to try and find the info for whether or not it's listed as 1 or 2 words in here. Because that makes sense. Okay. Alright. Yeah, okay, it's 1 word. It was throwing me off because it's separated halfway through. On, like, the edge break. Where is it? Okay. So, like, choke, and then cherries over here. But then if you go up, they separated, like, different, too. Where is it? Yeah. They separated different in the middle to make the lines more even, I guess. Which I know is a thing, but still. Just having it be like that every once in a while, okay, but anyway. So, yeah. Page 110 is the chokecherry reference. Okay. Okay, so chokecherry or bitter cherry. It's from the rose family, okay. Didn't know it was a roseaceae. If it's a prunus, then okay, that makes sense. Okay. Alright. So hardiness zone 2 to 7, height 20 to 30 feet, width 15 to 20 feet. Alright. This one is from the Urban Forestry Outreach and Research Nursery and Lab at the University of Minnesota. So, the chokecherry is a small shrub or tree, often forming dense thickets. Leaves on chokecherry are elliptical and have finely serrated margins. They are shiny dark green above and light green, sometimes hairy, underneath. In the fall, the foliage turns yellow. The leaf stalks are slender, and 2 gland dots can be found on them. The bark is smooth, becoming scaly and gray-brown, with white lenticels. Twigs on chokecherry are slender and brown. When the twigs are cut or crushed, they have a bittersweet smell similar to the aroma of cyanide. I'm guessing that's a mistype, so it's supposed to be bitter almonds, or the cyanide of bitter almonds, whichever. Like most species in the Rosaceae family, the flowers on chokecherry have 5 white rounded petals. The flowers bloom in clusters in late spring. Following the flowers, the fruit that is known as chokecherry form and are shiny dark red or blackish. They have a bitter or astringent taste, hence one of the common names, bitter cherry. The fruit matures in the summer. It can be found growing in most alkaline soils along streams located in mountains, forest borders, clearings, and roadsides. The shrub can also grow in dry soils. It prefers sun to partial shade. The fruit on chokecherry is bitter when raw, so it is not recommended to eat them right off the tree. They can be cooked and made into preserves, jams, pies, and sauces. The shrub can be used for shrub borders and open woodland gardens. Cultivars are used in landscapes for ornamental purposes. Okay? Chokecherry is a food source for wildlife and birds. The flowers attract pollinators in the spring. Native range of chokecherry is the northern United States from Maine to British Columbia, and down south to northern Texas and Missouri. It can also be found growing in western California. Known varieties and their traits, so we've got the Red Canada, or the Canada Red, and the Chabert. Susceptible to black knot, which can be fatal if not pruned. Tent caterpillars can also be an issue, and the wood is weak, and branches may be broken by ice or snow in winter. So, okay. Good to know. Oh. Okay. Okay, alright. So this right here is getting into what they were talking about with the science fair experiment with, I forget what the actual context was. That big that I just looked up. So what, 110? Yeah, junior year science fair project. Okay. So what, traditionally prepared choke cherry pudding had cancer-fighting properties. The seeds, grinding up the seeds in the traditional way instead of filtering them out, that's what had the medicinal value. Okay. So, it sounds like because actually, one sec. Here's choke cherry. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, all of the prunus species are stone fruit, unless there's something that is an outlier that I'm not aware of. But stone fruit just means that there's a singular seed in the interior, because there's a stone that the fruit is around. And generally, you see discussions around that, because in particular medicinal traditions, grinding up the seed has been seen as an anti-cancer remedy. Like, I think the most common that I've seen has been apricot, maybe, where it's apricot seed ground up and then added to like a jam or something. Yeah. And I think peach is another one that I've seen people do that with, because there's a combination that it's one of those that between the combination of the internal components of the seed and the meat of the fruit, it's thought to kind of counteract each other to, be the best version of itself for that purpose. And it sounds like that's what Donis was doing in the experiment. because everything that I'm saying is saying that the fruit itself is fine to eat, but that the seed has cyanide. And at least so far, we haven't gotten more details on how she was doing the experiment, which, you know, that would be cool. Just saying. But yeah. So it looks like from that sounds like a theory that the cure to the poison will also be found in, yeah, kind of. The cure to poison X will also be found in plant X, essentially. And there are definitely instances where that is the case, or where that particular remedy works. But there's also instances where it doesn't. So it's one of those that if you're going to be using traditional medicine, that's great. Just also keep in mind that you might need to utilize other forms of medicinal things. But I will say, especially in indigenous communities, like we've got in Firekeeper's Daughter, especially after generations of being subjected to the residential schools and like government sanctioned experiments and whatever else, like I I totally get not having that much confidence or trust in the non-traditional medical system. So, understandable. I mean, hell, like, that's the only medical format that I've known aside from my own forays into doing a bit of research and some baseline herbalism, and my experience with like general Western medicine hasn't been all that great. So if there's a long like systemic situation happening, totally get it. Anyway, wait, what? Ow. those times that you realize that you should probably cut your nails. Because, like, they're too long and you keep unintentionally bending them by stabbing yourself. That's where I am right now. Did you say your experience with herbal medicine hasn't been that great? My experience with herbal medicine has been me looking up things on Google that, like, I can figure out from there. Like, basically my foray into herbal medicine has been stuff like turmeric and thyme and lemongrass and things like that. So, like, the base level, I'm the one who collected it, generally, or it's in a capsule and I know that that's all that's in there. So, yeah. Or, boiling bits of onion down to get, like, an onion juice, onion syrup sort of thing for ear infections. That one, I mean, it makes you smell like onions for, like, a week, but it works. Yeah, no, definitely one of the interests. It's weird, because depending on who you talk to, traditional medicine is either go to a hospital and have a highly medicalized, bunch of lingo and people in white lab coats and stuff having a chat about whatever, or it's going to an herbalist or an acupuncturist or whoever. And it's like, yeah, well, old school lab coat versus old school, well, there's plants and stuff, so yeah, let's do that. I don't know. Simply because I haven't gone to a herbalist type person, and yeah, mine's those peas not sterile kids. Only peas not sterile kids. Only pour your own pee in your ear. Exactly. I mean, if you're gonna do it, at least, like, use your own, but, like, no, maybe not. Maybe don't do that. Maybe, So, yeah. Yeah. It just reminds me of, like, a couple of investigative deep dives that I've seen people do on YouTube, where there was, someone who was saying, like, to cure an eye infection, put your own pee in your eye. And they were surprised and shocked and appalled that it made things worse. Like, I wonder. Really? I don't know. I don't know about that. Yeah. Yeah. I still remember, like, in particular aspects of, must have been history class, where we were learning that in order to wash things in certain regions in the medieval period, they'd collect pee because it's got ammonia in it, and then wash stuff in that. I don't know. I don't know about that, but there you go. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Oh. Mm. Okay. Our history of witchcraft professor showed up one day all excited. We were going to make our own spells following ancient Greek instructions. And then she pulled out a jar of pee. And we were very glad we had a medical appointment and noped out of there. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I can understand why it's an ingredient in certain things, especially if there's I keep forgetting that there's a mic right there. Yeah, there we go. I can understand why it would be an ingredient in certain things, especially if it's to do with, like, spell work and stuff. If, like, you're doing something that's a protective or a whatever, and, like, you bury it somewhere, because that seems to be the context for that to operate within most of the times when I've heard about it. But also, there's stories, right, about archaeologist types that just, how to phrase. Boy, pee was the closest thing they had to sterile. They could have just boiled water. You would think. You would think. Right? That would be the logical conclusion. You know? But, so, I don't remember where it was exactly, like what site. Want to say it was England, just because there's a rather high concentration of sites. I'm pretty sure it was England. But I remember hearing a story about someone who was excavating, I don't know, an old residential area and came across a random jar, or like I think there were a couple of jars on the property. And it had obviously been there for a long time because the ground above it was like pretty well packed, and stable and everything. And it was still like there was some liquid in there. And, because archaeologists have no sense of self-preservation. Like, one of the guys, either they were one of the excavators or the lead excavator decided, what would be a great idea? We should taste it. And then discovered that it was a jar full of like 500-year-old pee and a couple of iron nails and stuff. So, at least most of the time, it's like, what is this mystery substance? And then it's just like preserved honey or something. But like, the number of stories, right? The number of stories that I've heard come out of like freaking Egypt, right? The land of, we want our tombs to be preserved, so we will booby trap everything and put potential curses on everything. So if you disturb it, then you die. And going into that environment, like, yes, I have found this mystery thing. Yes, yes, yes. I want to eat it. Why? Why? Why are you like this? Ah! Yeah. Yeah, that sounds exactly like one of the ancient Greek recipes. Yeah. And if I remember right, in that context, it's usually a protection and warding off of someone who's being hostile, who's trying to start something with you. So the solution, the solution that you mixed up with, the solution would be to put nails, some toe clippings, I think. Toenail clippings. Wow. Okay. Toenail clippings. I think it was something of the other person's, like a scrap of fabric or something, in a jar, and then pee in it. And then bury it somewhere. So, yeah. And that's a thing that every once in a while you still hear about as being done, used, whatever today. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a white people thing. It's like the number of times that there's been some, and the locals are just kind of there, like, oh, okay, you're gonna what? You what? You wanna in there? Can we not? Can can we maybe not do whatever that is? And then the researchers or investigators or archaeologists or whatever they're going by in that juncture, like, I know what I'm doing. Yes, 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 yes. This is perfectly fine. Yes, yes. Like, being an entitled white dude does not save you from being poisoned and death. Alright? Just saying. In certain situations, you might have more likelihood of getting treatment after you've tried to kill yourself, unintentionally or otherwise, and, surviving afterwards, if you're a white dude. But, like, Lou reads thing, Lou reading things, and her, I'm Latina, so I would have the common sense to not get into the situation. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I have the self-preservation of, uh, a rational human. So, like, no. Oh, seriously, seriously. I don't know. uh, the absolute caucasity of some people. I don't know. Anyway. Anyway. Yeah. And, like, alright. I get that taste is a very useful sense in context of science and scientific research and stuff. Because there are times that that's the only thing, or like the minute grit factor is the only thing separating analysis of two different samples or elements or whatever. Like you have with field geology, where depending on the grit fineness, if you rub it on your teeth a little bit, that would determine how much erosion has taken place in the area. Like, I get it. But, like, I was on a site, right? And in order to tell if something was iron, one of the guys licked it. Like, I don't know. I don't know about. What? I understand what you're doing, but I also question your life choices right now. Anyway. So, did we ever identify the plant's home range? Because I don't think we did. Nope, nope. Okay, they did a thing. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see if it loads. There we go. Okay. Native to North America. The natural historic range of Prunus virginiana includes most of Canada, including Northwest Territories, but excluding Yukon, Nunavut, and Labrador. Okay. Most of the United States, including Alaska, but excluding some states in the southeast. So, like, yeah. What? And to northern Mexico. Sonora, Chihuahua, Baja California, Durango. Zacatecas, Cloa, and Nuevo Leon. Okay. Yeah. So... Don't lick the cinnabar! No. I should probably go back to the, screen so that y'all can actually see what I'm doing. That would help. And I have no mouse. What? There you are. Okay, one sec. There we go. Okay. So, it looks like this is the native range map. Because we've got... What? But that's Labrador. Isn't it? Okay, one sec. Because, the American education system and geography. It's so great. Yeah, no, I need a little bit more detail than this is North America. Okay. Does this one have the provinces on it? Because I don't know. Maybe. If it feels like loading at some point. Come on. Maybe. Okay, so. What does that tell us? Okay, so we've got that. We've got... maybe? There we go. Okay. Huh. Okay. So. Okay, back up here. Most of Canada, including Northwest Territories, excluding Yukon, Nunavut, and Labrador. Okay. So, we've got, including the Northwest Territories, but excluding Nunavut, the Yukon Territory, and Labrador. So, like, this section, right around here. And it's in Alaska, but not Yukon. What? And then kind of the border areas and up here. Is this one Newfoundland? Because I know Newfoundland is an island. Or Labrador's an island. But yeah, I'm thinking that this one is Newfie, and then Lab would be the smaller one off to the side. Okay. Interesting. But compared to that, that's one. Okay. It really does not like the the California basin. Just like at all. Which, fair enough, it's an entirely different microclimate in the middle there, so fair enough. It's still kind of funny. Yeah. Ow. Yeah. Newfoundlands and Labradors. Wow. Okay. Seriously, before I went on today, like, I was trying to get everything set up and then just ended up staring at the screen for like 20 minutes and then realized it was 4:45. Like, why? What is happening? Anyway. How to clear a choke cherry. Talk to it in Valley Girl. Like, it's so bad, but it's kind of hilarious. Like, I don't think I've actually heard anyone use that voice. Like, seriously? I've heard it a whole lot, you know, as a joke thing over the years. But don't think I've ever actually heard that voice as, like, regular speech pattern in convo type dialogue. Thank you, Nightbot. I should probably move the mouse. Because it was right over the stop streaming button for a second there. Which, you know, maybe not the best right now. Anyway. Okay. So, looks like there's 3 main variants. The choke cherry is closely related to the black cherry, Prunus serratina, of eastern North America. It is most readily distinguished from that by its smaller size. Black cherry trees can reach 100 feet tall, smaller leaves, and sometimes red ripe fruit. The choke cherry leaf has a finely serrated margin and is dark green above with a paler underside, while the black cherry leaf has numerous blunt edges along its margin and is dark green and smooth. The name choke cherry is also used for the related Manchurian cherry, or Amur choke cherry, Prunus machi. Okay. For many Native American tribes of the northern Rockies, northern plains, and boreal forest region of Canada and the United States, choke cherries are the most important fruit in their traditional diets and are part of pemmican, a staple traditional food. Let's see if it does the thing. It did the thing. Okay. A mixture of tallow, dried meat, and dried berries that's used as a nutritious food. Historically, was an important part of indigenous cuisine in certain parts of North America and is still prepared today. Nope. Okay. Yeah, there we go. The bark of the choke cherry root is made into an asparous textured concoction to ward off or treat colds, fever, and stomach maladies by Native Americans. The inner bark of the choke cherry, as well as red osier, dogwood, or alder, is also used by some tribes in ceremonial smoking mixtures known as kinnikinnick. First Nations herbal smoking mixture made from a traditional combination of leaves or barks. Recipes for the mixture vary, as do the uses from social to spiritual to medicinal. Yeah. basically, really. The chokecherry fruit can be eaten when fully ripe, but otherwise contains a toxin. Okay. The fruit can be used to make jam or syrup, but the bitter nature of the fruit requires sugar to sweeten the preserves. The Plains Indians pound up the whole fruits, including the toxic pits, in a mortar from which they made sun-baked cakes. The stone of the fruit is poisonous. Chokecherry is toxic to horses, moose, cattle, goats, deer, and other animals with segmented stomachs, or the ruminants, especially after the leaves have wilted, such as after a frost or after branches have been broken, because wilting releases cyanide and makes the plant sweet. About 10 to 20 pounds of foliage can be fatal. Symptoms of a horse that has been poisoned include heavy breathing, agitation, and weakness. The leaves of the chokecherry serve as food for caterpillars of various Lepidoptera. It's used to craft wine in the western U.S., mainly in the Dakotas, Utah, and Manitoba. Okay. It's a larval host to the black-waved flannel moth. Oh, they're so fuzzy. They're so fuzzy. The blinded sphinx. Which, okay. Music, kind of. There we go. The Ceratopia moth, coral hair streak, Cynthia moth. Similarities. The elm sphinx, Glover silk moth, the hummingbird earwig moth. Oh wow. The imperial moth. Yes. The low moth. The Polyphemus moth. The Promethea moth, that apparently does not have a page. The red spotted purple. The small-eyed sphinx. The spring azure. Those are pretty. The striped hair streak. The tiger swallowtail. Yeah. Twin spotted sphinx, who doesn't appear to have a picture. And Wiedmeyer's admiral. Yeah. I remember being at Busch Gardens and seeing, okay, so this one has the blue banding versus this one that has kind of white banding. But it was this coloration, sort of, but instead of white, it was like neon green. Somewhere around here I have a couple of postcards of that one, but yeah, it was very cool. Alright. Awesome. Well, apparently, where are you? Tiger swallowtail. Come on. There you go. Apparently, the larvae like to, hang out on chokecherries and have a nibble on the leaves. Which also tells me that all of these are more or less poisonous if something tries to eat them. Because that's one of the reasons that monarchs eat milkweed. milkweed is fine to handle most of the time, but it can have a skin reaction if you're sensitive to it, especially if the latex is exposed for whatever reason, like a branch is broken off or something. But because of certain compounds in what they eat, they are poisonous or generally toxic to anyone who's trying to eat them. And that tends to be during the larval stage, because generally speaking, once they've hatched out of the chrysalis, they don't tend to stick around all that long. That varies, admittedly, between species. There's some that are a lot longer lived than others, but yeah. The tiger swallowtails are fabulous, though. Alright, so we've got... Oh, okay. So, pemmican. I know I've seen that word before, but I don't remember if it was in braiding sweetgrass or if it was in here, in this one. I don't think it was. But it might have been in context of Donna's talking about one of her grandmothers or aunts making something. I don't know. Okay. The word comes from the Cree word pimikan, which is derived from the word pimi, or fat or grease. The Lakota or Sioux word for the Lakota or Sioux word is wasna, originally meaning grease derived from marrow bones, with the wa creating a noun and sna referring to small pieces that adhere to something. Alright. It was invented by the indigenous peoples of North America. Pemmican was widely adopted as a high-energy food by Europeans involved in the fur trade, and later by Arctic and Antarctic explorers, such as Captain Robert Bartlett, Ernest Shackleton, Richard E. Byrd, Fridtjof Nansen, Robert Falcon Scott, George W. DeLong, and Ronald Edmondson. Traditionally, the specific ingredients used for pemmican were usually whatever was available. The dried meat is often in the form of large game meat, such as bison, deer, elk, or moose, but the use of fish, such as salmon, and smaller game, such as duck, is not uncommon. The meats used in contemporary pemmican also include beef. Dried fruit, such as cranberries and Saskatoon berries, sometimes are added. Blueberries, cherries, chokeberries, and currants are also used, but in some regions, these fruits are used almost exclusively in ceremonial and wedding pemmican. The additional use of sugar was noted in the journals of European fur traders. These ingredients are mixed together and rendered animal fat or tallow. Among the Lakota and Dakota nations, there is also corn wasna, or pemmican, that does not contain dried meat. This is made from toasted cornmeal, animal fat, fruit, and sugar. Alright. usually used as hunting rations these days? Probably either hunting rations or like if you're actually, yeah, it would fit with the same thing. Like if you're going exploring somewhere and need a food source, but you're not planning to hunt, it would technically be the same situation as if you needed hunting rations. So yeah, most likely. Outside of the ceremonial context, at least. Okay. Oh, right, here we go. Today, people in many indigenous communities across North America, or indigenous communities, there we go, across North America, continue to make pemmican for personal, community, and ceremonial consumption. Some contemporary pemmican recipes incorporate ingredients that have been introduced to the Americas in the past 500 years, including beef. There are also indigenous-owned companies such as Tonkabar, based on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, that produce pemmican or foods based on traditional pemmican recipes for commercial distribution. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So we've gone through the whole cyanide in the seeds and how the combination is intended to treat cancer and other things like that. So we've got choke cherries, seeds, and cyanide, how to make them safe. Okay. I've read that drying or cooking the seeds after crushing choke cherries will render them safer to eat. This was written in Sam Thayer's book. What book? But okay. However, I haven't been able to find any information written about this. Does anyone know if this is true or if there is a study ever conducted to test this? Has anyone eaten a large quantity of dried choke cherry fruit leather or the seeds in quantity and escape ill effects as part of our survival challenges? As part of our survival challenges, I know I can get a large volume of them, and so wonder about eating a lot of them at the same time. Guys, why? I never ate the seeds, but I ate choke cherries all the time in my backyard. I made choke cherry jam. I have as well, but the pits are discarded. It's great jam, though. Raymer's Bushcraft. American Prairies has them making dried choke cherry about 42 minutes in. Okay. Oh, yeah. Season 2, Episode 3. Okay. Is the cyanide in choke cherry seeds higher than other seeds? For example, higher than apple seeds? I know at least for apple seeds, you need to eat around 2 cups of seeds to reach toxic levels. It'd be about the same in our experiments. We need to eat volumes of the seeds in order to gain the calories we need. Eating 2 cups of crushed seeds wouldn't be out of the ordinary. We did eat around 6 cups of the fruit or flesh inside of one day, trying to get all the food we needed, but we spit out the seeds. Needless to say, after a while, you just can't eat them anymore. Apparently, the fruit leather makes less sour, bitter, astringent. What? That sentence makes no sense. But in a survival situation, or as the natives did, there's no real easy way to get rid of the seeds, and the seeds do have good qualities of oils and proteins which you can't get without crushing and eating them. Of course, we want to do it safely. The common way to get fruit off pits is to cook it for a while, mash thoroughly with a little water if it's not juicy enough to be flowable, and then let the seeds settle or float, remove them. Yeah, but if you want to include them, if I remember right, in the apple example, you need to eat 2 cups of seeds to reach toxicity. You'd need to eat quite a bit more to be not alive. Personally, don't know if I could eat 6 cups of the choke cherry fruit, even in a survival situation. Have you estimated how much of the dried cherries natives would eat per day? Right. How about y'all just ask people, how, really? Like, there's times, right, that it's like, there's certain speech patterns about topics that it's obvious that like, that the thing exists and certain base elements about it, but like, not what the actual history probably is, or cultural significance or anything. It's like, the natives are doing whatever. Like, okay, have you asked anyone who is in the group that they're basing your assumptions off of on how anything has been done with the plant that you're trying to work with for the last, however many centuries? Anyone? No? I've only read that drying it and cooking it helps reduce the cyanide. I'm not sure how much people would have eaten. It's an important food. Is it so abundant? Yeah, and then this one, right? I'm not sure how much they would have eaten. I know it was an important food because it's so abundant, easy to collect in large quantities. They had better diets than we could hope to get just going out in a week. 2 cups sounds like a lot of seeds, though, so maybe that's a good place to start. Combine that with the flesh and skin, and that's a good volume of food. Like, y'all realize that indigenous people, First Nations people, they still exist, right? Like, really? Ask the natives, yeah, really. How could we expect to get accurate scientific information? Perish the thought, seriously. Like, really? Really? Like, just from that, right? Just from that alone, I'm going to posit that everyone involved in that conversation is very white. Could easily be mistaken. But that's my guess. Just because. Call it a hunch. You know? Like, why? People, why are you like this? God. Alright. Okay, so. Edible fruit attracts birds and butterflies, but is dangerous to humans and pets because the seeds or stones are poisonous and can cause illness. So, like, if you don't eat the seed, then you should be fine. But, you know, you need to remember not to do that, I guess. The seeds which are found inside the fruit, just as a general thing, that does tend to be how fruit works. Not always, admittedly, but if it's a stone fruit, it tends to be on the inside of the fruit, you know. Okay. Cherry seeds contain a toxin called glycoside and produce a compound similar to cyanide called pernazine. Care should be taken when eating cherry fruit to avoid accidentally biting into or swallowing the seeds. Alright. Oh yeah, the books. Come on. I mean, if you don't want to go, then fine, whatever. You gonna behave now? You gonna let me scroll back to no? Maybe you're just gonna do it yourself. Okay, fair. You good? I can click stuff now. You happy? Okay. So, Yeah. Yeah, I haven't tried ordering anything from Book Outlet, but apparently it's a pretty dang good site, and they have a whole range of interesting titles and things, you know. Just see. Right? Come on. Whatever. Anyway. Water time. Water time. Okay. I mean, that is it's a decent play on the title. Say that much. Don't know that I would be interested in reading it, but that is an interesting play on the title. The Chainbreaker series is included in. Oh, okay. Alright. Alright. Okay. Sounds good. Oh, okay. I guess there's 3 that are $2 today. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So we've got that. Okay. Oh. So, we've gone over the chokecherry, and that's the one that. Okay. Ow. One sec. So we've gone over the chokecherry. That's the one that. Yeah. That Donis has. God damn it. Okay. Okay. Never mind. Never mind. Alright. We're good. We're good. The activity feed scrolled up or scrolled back really quick, and it was giving me flashes to a week and a half ago. So we're good. Carry on. All right. Anyway, so yeah, the chokecherry is the only one that at present we know that Donis has direct experience dealing with. But in context of the story, because she needs to mess about with creating her own version of meth to see how to get the weird reactions that people keep having to stuff. We're probably going to see more botanical experiments as we're going through. So, looking forward to that. As a past thing, however, Ron? His name's Ron, right? Not Rob. I can't remember. I mean, he's showed up in like all of like 4 scenes, so. Where is he? Ron. Much obliged, friends. Much obliged indeed. Can you stop randomly scrolling? Oh yes, thanks. Thanks so much. Yes. There you go. Okay. Travis, yeah. But now we know what you think of Ron Weasley. Joe. Ron is fine. Ron's fine. Okay. What was I saying? Whatever. Okay. So, the two that Uncle Ron, says that they found traces of in previous samples. As previously stated, at one point I was staring off into space for 20 minutes before I went on stream. I think, at this point, I think the long pause was just like, more than anything else. Just brain being weird. We're good, but, like, I don't know. Slightly fuzzy for some reason. Okay, so, the two that Ron mentions as having been found in previous samples or at previous sites, they haven't gotten into whether or not it was like something that someone found or someone died or someone was violently ill and like blood work was done and then they found like mushrooms and meth in their system, but they'd only taken the meth, so like where did it come from? I don't know. But yeah. So the two that are currently of note are the Pluteus and the psilocybe carolupus. Now, this one is a distinct species. It's the bluefoot psilocybin mushroom. And Pluteus is a it's a genus, right? Yeah, it's the Pluteus genus, and there's over 300 species in the genus. So it's like one we have narrowed down to the particular species, and the other one it's, well, something that has similarities to certain aspects, which tells me that that sample Either there's a lot of there's a lot of different mushrooms that have the same properties, or the sample was degraded enough that they couldn't pinpoint which one it was. So, I'm hoping that that's addressed later, and it's not just that the author put in particular names because science. We'll see. I don't know. We shall see. Yeah. Psilocybin is very much hallucinogenic. And what'll come up? Psilocybin is a naturally occurring psychedelic drug compound produced by more than 200 species of fungi. The most potent are members of the genus Psilocybe, such as P. azuriensis, P. semitica, P. cyanensis, but psilocybin has also been isolated from about a dozen other genera. As a prodrug, psilocybin is quickly converted by the body to psilocybin, which has mind-altering effects, similar in some aspects to those of LSD, mescaline, and DMT. In general, the effects include euphoria, visual and mental hallucinations, changes in perception, a distorted sense of time, and perceived spiritual experiences. It can also include possible adverse reactions such as nausea and panic attacks. Imagery found on prehistoric murals and rock paintings of modern-day Spain and Algeria suggests that human usage of psilocybin mushrooms predates recorded history. In Mesoamerica, the mushrooms had long been consumed in spiritual and divinatory ceremonies before Spanish chroniclers first documented their use in the 16th century. In 1959, a Swiss chemist, Albert Hofmann, isolated the active principle psilocybin from the mushroom Psilocybin mexicana. Hofmann's employer Sandoz marketed and sold pure psilocybin to physicians and clinicians worldwide for use in psychedelic psychotherapy. Although the increasingly restrictive drug laws of the late 1960s curbed scientific research into the effects of psilocybin and other hallucinogens, its popularity as an entheogen, spiritually enhancing agent, grew in the next decade, owing largely to the increased availability of information on how to cultivate psilocybin mushrooms. The intensity and duration of the effects of psilocybin are variable depending on species or cultivar of mushrooms, dosage, individual physiology, and setting, as was shown in experiments led by Timothy Leary at Harvard University in the early 1960s. Once ingested, psilocybin is rapidly metabolized to psilocybin, which then acts on serotonin receptors in the brain. And I realize that I just slipped into tour conductor mode there, but it fits. So, just making sure that the stream is still working alright, because my feed of Twitch is doing the rotating spin of death right now. Okay. Terrence McKenna, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Yeah, Timothy Leary and Terrence McKenna are kind of the big names with that. Mostly Terrence McKenna. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, the rotating spin of death. Like, you know when it's trying to connect, but it's not? So it's just like... I am attempting to load, but there is no load, or like, there is no connection. The rotating spin of death. Okay. Let's go with this one. Because I can never remember, like, when I go to look up the info, I can never remember what the actual link is. That's not it. It's really not it. It starts with an E, I know that much. Yeah. Arrowwood, there we go. Nope, nope, nope. There we go. Ha! Okay. Yeah, the infinite buffer. Okay. Is it gonna load? Or no? Maybe. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Which, just as someone who has a podcast that talks about plants that are poisonous or hallucinogenic or whatever, you would think that I would access this more than like twice a year. But last year was weird and that didn't happen. So there we go. Anyway. If I come on. No. Come on. Work with me. Why? If I remember right, Terrence McKenna had a pretty big part in creating this, or putting it together at least. Because he's associated with a lot of the ethnogen or plants used for a spiritual purpose, rather, sort of research. Which is interesting, because, like, this thing, right? This thing that apparently has more than 2 million people use it every month. You would think that they'd, I don't know, not to drag anybody, but, like, you would think that they would have updated the site sometime between December 9th, 2015 and now. You know? Like, guys, just a thing. Y'all might want to get on that. Like, your site's great and all. Like, no shade to that. But, like, when all of the articles that you're citing are from, like, the mid-90s to the early 2000s, like, max, 2015, because that's when it was last updated. Oh, well, okay. But the design itself is 1995 to 2020, so at least that is, vaguely up to par. But, guys, come on. Alright, so, we've got... all kinds of things around here. Okay, just to see what it says. Okay, just a thing, right? I know I stopped really looking at this site, mostly because it hasn't been updated in, like, half a decade, if not more, and it's just not, like, easy to navigate, generally. But you go to peyote and you get review Arrowwood at great nonprofits. You go to cocaine, which the coca plant is a rather innocuous plant that, like, works great for treating stomach aches and also helps people, like, stay awake longer. But, like, cocaine, that's the synthesized version that's has basically nothing to do with the origin plant anyway. And it says black, brown, yellow, and red lives matter. Which, if it's just minority rights are important, okay. but it kind of has that all lives matter vibe that was going around last year, especially. So, I don't know. And have that particular thing on a compound that has been negatively associated with minority communities a lot of times. And I don't know about that. And then for cannabis, it's just, have you had a belief-changing psychedelic experience? Like, what is that? Is cannabis like the white people drug now? Like, what? Like, I don't. Really? Really? Yeah. And caffeine, like, it's the same freaking thing. Like, the hell? Really? Wow. 2006 to 2019 do not exist. 2020 doesn't either. It's just January, February, and a really long March. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Have at it. Like, bruh. Okay. I've forgotten totally why. Yeah, okay. Because, like, I stopped. Yeah, even with the poppy, it's. Oh, yes, this is so fabulous. But, like, cocaine. And, yeah, okay. So, we've got that one. Let's see what happens with meth. Just cuz. Oh, it doesn't have anything up here. Okay. Interesting. Interesting choice. About heroin. Oh, okay. Nope. Oh, yeah, and for opium, it's donate Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. Guys, nah. just, just, nah with that. Wow. Okay. Alright. There we go. Wow. Monica's website should not get airtime. Perhaps we should say Monican. Yes, yes, yes. Like, seriously? I forgot that this thing wasn't on full blast. Okay, one sec. There we go. Because the power strip is like right here, and I just like ran into it. So there we go. That, let me see, because I think let's go back into it for a sec. Okay. We've got caffeine. Yeah, it's still the weird white people message. What does it say for ketamine? Just cause I'm curious. Yeah, okay. That. Cocaine. Yep. Really? Really? But alcohol, what's that one say? Follow Arrowwood on Insta. Alright. And ayahuasca, just because I have questions. Oh, it doesn't have anything. Okay. Copy. Right. Wait, seriously? There. I mean, I realize that most of South America has a whole lot of issue going on, you know. Probably the entirety of South America. But, like, why with the Bitcoin? You know? Why? Oh. Anyway. Oh, yeah, there was. I was looking up mushrooms and things and then got distracted by, you know, the shenanigans. I want to say El Salvador or Ecuador. Okay. El Salvador's move to accept Bitcoin as an official means of payment. The small Central American country has given the oldest cryptocurrency an allocate. Why? Why? Okay. Getting back to the topic at hand. Okay, so Pluteus are wood rotting saprobes with pink spore prints and gills that are free from the stem. So, like, they're curving up like that. So they're wood rotting, so they grow on wood or wood remains. The spore powder. So, in order to collect spores, a lot of times you kind of hold some collecting material, whether it's like a bag or whatever, under the mushroom and kind of tap on the top to get the spores release. So that would be a deep pink, soon giving a pink tint to the initially pale gills. So there's that. Okay. Most people rate their taste and consistency as average. Some of the mushrooms are edible, including P. tatasus and P. cervinus. Though most people rate their taste and consistency as average at best. Wait a second. Pluteus cervinus. Okay. Pluteus cervinus is the best known species in Europe and North America. Okay, so that might be the one that ends up getting a mention in the book. I don't know. We'll see. Also known as Pluteus atricapillus, and commonly known as the deer shield or the deer or fawn mushroom. It's a mushroom that belongs to the large genus Pluteus. It's often found on rotten logs, roots, and tree stumps, and is widely distributed. It can also grow on sawdust and other wood bits. Okay. Put the cap without stem on a white sheet of paper, gill side down overnight. The Hymenium. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just cause. In higher fungi, a surface consisting mainly of spore-bearing structures, Ascia bacida. The hymenium is a tissue layer on the hymenophore of a fungal fruiting body where the cells develop into basidia or asci, which produce spores. In some species, all of the cells of the hymenium develop into basidia or asci. ASCII. Well, in others, some cells develop into sterile cells called cystidia or bastiomycetes or paraphyses. Cystidia are often important for microscopic identification. The subhymenium consists of the supportive hyphae from which the cells of the hymenium grow, beneath which is the hymenophoral trauma, the hyphae that make up the mass of the hymenophore. Okay, yeah. Being that mushrooms are not my forte, I need a chart for this or something, you know? Hymenophore refers to the hymenium bearing structure of the fungal fruiting body. Hymenophores can be smooth surfaces, lamellae, folds, tubes, or teeth. The term was coined by Robert Hooke in 1665. Okay. Yeah. Incidentally, like giant puffballs, like these guys, you can apparently make steaks out of. Which is interesting. Especially because, like, once they're ripe and ready to go, the reason they're called, puffballs, aside from, they're roundish and stuff, is that, like, they're designed that when they're ready to, like, release their spores, anything that, like, runs into them, it'll just, like, spores everywhere. And yet, apparently, you can harvest them and chop them up and make mushroom steaks out of them. Now, that being said, I don't know how many kinds of puffballs there are. So, like, don't be just going out in the forest and harvesting random things if you don't know what it is, alright? So, seriously. Yes, drawings with labels and arrows and friendly lettering. Yes, yes, indeed. Indeed. Okay. Come on. Okay. Come on. Okay. So, we've got... okay. No, no. Uh, okay. So we've got the gills around here, the ring, or the analyst that some of them don't have, the stem bit or stake, the cup or vulva, mycelial threads, scales and whatnot up top. So we've got is this one more user friendly? Sort of. Not really, no. Okay. So, yeah, Peleus. Oh, yeah, okay. It did a thing. Peleus up top, the Hymenium tubes and pores. Hymenium gills or lamellae. Almost reticulum state base. So, is it two different kinds of mushrooms? Yeah, like, it's honestly, it's one of those things, right, that graphs, charts, pictures, like, why can't people just label their data? You know? Like, just label the information. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking research. It doesn't have to, whatever. Just tell me what you're looking at and how you got to the conclusion that you came to. Regardless of what it is. You know? Even if it's just, this is this thing. Okay? So label it. But why? It wants a name. Give it a name. That's all. Like, why? I was telling my mom yesterday, right? Like, the stats is cool and stuff, and probability and all the rest of it. But, like, there's so many times that people misuse statistics and stuff, and it's like 50% of people, what was it? Yeah, exactly. If we understood what it was, we wouldn't be looking it up on Wikipedia. Honestly, like like 50% of people agree that this is a thing. Like, you interviewed 2 people. Stop it. Honestly, why? Why are people like this? Honestly. So, yeah, that just, confirms that mushrooms are not my forte. So, not gonna be going out foraging for them by myself. Because unlike some people, I have a rather pronounced sense of self-preservation, generally. There are times, but, generally. Yeah. Seriously, lots of the science and math articles need layman versions as well. Yeah. Yeah. Like, honestly, the best ones that I've seen are able to either alternate between the two or, like, we did this complicated thing, which means that blah 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 blah. Or it's just an easily understandable article with a link to the original one or a link to the research or whatever with, like, some graphs and stuff in there. Like, really. There's a reason that people read science news and not generally particular studies that the info from science news is based on. Ow. Or other similar sources of information. So, yeah. Alright. Oh yeah, the other one was cedar. Yeah. Okay. The other one was cedar. But so far the only plants that she's directly worked with were cedar and chokecherry. And there's, like, minor discussion of sweetgrass, but not very much. And tobacco is mentioned all the time. But so far, it hasn't come up in conjunction with the rest of it. So, we'll see on that. I don't know. Alrighty. Ow. Yeah, just a bit of advice, right? If you're gonna drum on the edge of a solid surface, don't do it, like, right on the knuckle there. Because that is a bad idea. It just is. Okay. So, looked up the etymology and looks like hymenidity come before and influence hymenium. Dudes. Yeah, like, okay, one second. Because, alright. Close. There we go. Okay. One sec. Because I want to corroborate this before I say anything. Alright. I think that's it. Okay, yeah. Yep, okay. I'm pretty sure. Okay. So, one of the instructor guys who was at Kent when I was doing the masters was very, very invested in orchids and orchid research and orchid habitat conservancy and reintroducing populations into the wild, issues with poaching, all that. Apparently, there was a new species in Kew Gardens just chilling in the orchid house with all the rest of them. And because the interns had to analyze all the plants, and because they're fiddly enough that you tend to have to pollinate the orchids by like taking the eraser end of a pencil and just kind of like dabbing pollen from one flower onto the I'm blanking on plant parts right now. Wow, okay. On the receptacle part of like another flower. In order to ensure pollination. You get like really up close and personal with the flowers. And apparently he found a new one on site. And I forget what part it was, I want to say anthers, but part of the flower was kind of crossed. And there's a few that have like cross bits and stuff in there. But that one, it was different. So it was a different species, and because he'd discovered it, he was allowed to name the species. Now, keeping in mind that this dude as do many people that I know, regardless of whether or not they're science people or not. But this dude has kind of like the humor of a 12-year-old. So wanted to call it what was it? Malaysia, because that's the orchid designation. Incontinentia, the incontinent orchid, because it looked like it had to pee because the legs are crossed. Yeah, exactly. Panda poop, like it's kind of hilarious. It's fine, but it's like it's a thing. So like they said no, pick something else. So he's like, oh okay, uh, uh, oh I know, Virginiensis. Yes, Virginiensis. Because if someone calls you on it, if someone asks you about it, you can just say like, oh yeah, no, it's about like the Queen Victoria or some BS. But like, no, it's the Virgin Orchid now, and that's its official name. Like that we went through. So like, dude, uh right, right. But because England has such a long history of like the Virgin Queen, that one's okay. But saying that the orchid has to pee, like, oh my god, yeah, could have been much more creative, right? Like, sir, sir, come on, man. Oh. Oh, jeez. uh, yeah. So, Tales from Kew Gardens. I think that was, yeah, I think you were sharing that particular tidbit right around when we were sitting around eating cassava crackers that had been donated to the collection like 3 or 4 years ago. Because someone had come back from research in the area that they were readily available and brought back like 2 packs or something. So like one went in the special collection and one was just sitting there vibing for a while. That may or may not be the same time that I realized that mace and nutmeg are the same plant. I don't know. It was the same person running the discussion. I just don't remember how many there were, so there's that. Against the I'm being overly polite to keep from calling you something unprintable and getting fired, sir. Yes. Exactly. Good day. Exactly. Uh, yeah. Yeah. So, it's just, mm-hmm. Consequently, there we go. Yeah, over there. And yet mace, the spray, does not contain mace as in nutmeg. Actually. Yeah. Oh, that one's cool. Somehow I keep forgetting that photo essays are a thing. Like, I take pictures all the time, and I keep forgetting that photo essays are a thing. How? I don't know, but I do. Anyway. Okay. Nice. Alright. I like how one of the first options is Mace Windu. I mean, because of course, like Macedonia salad calories, which that's okay, whatever, and Mace Windu. Fair enough. Okay. Let's see. As the verbs. As verbs, the difference between spice and mace is that spice is to add spice or spices to, while mace is to spray in defense or attack with mace. What? Mace Windu from Star Wars. Yeah, I don't know what a Macedonia salad is either. Like, honestly. How much confusion. However, that's the link for the pretty flowers and stuff. Okay, after we do this, we can venture forth to figure out where he went and stuff. Okay, mace versus pepper spray. Okay, here we go. Mace is also the name of a chemical self-defense product, just like pepper spray. You wouldn't want to get these two mixed up, would you? It would all end in either finding yourself grossly underprepared, or your dinner might just take your breath away. Avoiding tears in any case. Begins with knowing the basics. Fair enough. Okay. So... Pepper spray is the name, or as the name suggests, is made from the extract of a number of pepper plants. It was created to be used as a self-defense tool, which allows the holder to incapacitate an attacker and escape unharmed. Pepper spray is also regularly used as a means of crowd control in riot situations. Yeah, can really mess with your eyesight. It's a solution of water mixed with OC or olestrin or oleoresin capsaicum extract. This is the extract of finely ground peppers, including different types of chili. The solution is then pressurized so it can be used in aerosol form. The specific aim of this chemical compound when used in this way is to irritate the eyes. This irritation is so intense, tears and blindness, blah, blah. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's perfectly fine to use in riot situations. In really bad situations, people die. Why? Come on. Okay. When we talk about mace, if someone were to say mace is dangerous or is mace legal, okay, where is it? Come on. Used for very different things and found in very different stores. There are two distinct products that are both known by the name mace. Here are the basics of the two. When it comes to the type of spray, it's hard to say who wins. We're guessing if you use it to ward off an angry bear, you would probably be better off with pepper spray, unless, of course, what you wanted was an angry bear with an amazing aromatic fragrance. Type of mace is actually a spice and not a lethal weapon like its counterparts. Mace as a spice originates from an evergreen shrub from the Mystica fragrans family of plants. It is actually the same tree and is in fact part of the same fruit that produces nutmeg. The nutmeg is removed from the fruit tree. It's wrapped in a red aril or seed covering. Once stripped from the nutmeg seed, the seed covering is then dried in the sun. The seed aril is called mace. It's an ingredient in food. Okay. In terms of using it as a flavoring for any dish at all, recommend not using this type of mace. Okay. Mace was originally a brand name of a self-defense spray invented by Alan Littman, released into the market in '65. It's a small can of tear gas and hydrocarbons. It was sold as a personal defense device. The brand name for mace turned out to be so popular that people began referring to all types of defense spray as mace. Huh, interesting. However, the original brand of mace, however, was a chemical compound that was not derived from pepper. It contained either ether and other solvents or compounds and was eventually taken off the market due to a number of police being injured by it. While the early cans of mace, which contained mostly tear gas, have been discontinued, the brand mace is still around today. Sold to Smith & Wesson back in '85. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, because the way that I kept hearing about it, it was like mace the spice and mace the, the aerosol are the same thing, but in a different format. But like, yeah, no. Dear author, let us not forget the third type of mace. The melee weapon. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, now, let's see. Because I honestly can't remember which one he was in. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no. Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson in the prequel series. Boom. Actually, just maybe. Yeah. So I can do anything? No. Okay. Mace Windu of the Jedi Council. Ow, ow. That's not working. Okay. There we go. I mean, basically, yeah. Yeah, no, the prequels are a certain brand of interesting. I'll give them that. It's a blatant point of bringing your brand of badass to Star Wars. Right. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, So, there's that. Right there. And while we're... Come on. Okay. Just because I'm curious now. Okay, let's go back. Come on. Oh, there's a potato salad and there's a fruit salad. Okay. Macedonia or Macedon It's a salad composed of small pieces of fruit or vegetables. Fruit Macedonia is a fresh fruit salad and is a common... Okay, is this actually on... Yes, it is. Okay. It's a common dessert in Greece, Romania, Spain, France, Italy, and Argentina. Vegetable Macedonia or Macedine de legume nowadays is usually a cold salad or hors d'oeuvre of diced vegetables, in France often including red beans. Macedone de legume is also a hot vegetable dish consisting of the same vegetable served with butter. Prepared Macedone, a mixture... Ow. Prepared Macedone, a mixture of diced vegetables and often peas, is often sold canned or frozen. It is sometimes mixed with mayonnaise combined with aspic stock, making it similar to Russian salad. Yay, aspic. So fun. So tasty. Okay. Lethality index, low to high, nutmeg mace, spray mace, steel mace, Jackson. Yeah. Oh. Oh. But I posit a scenario, right? Samuel L. Jackson making food with nutmeg mace. What would the lethality factor be then? Just for research purposes, you know. That is the question. That is generally the question, yes. We'll go with sometimes. Also, maybe. Now we're eating the food and rating the food out. That is a question, isn't it? I don't know. I didn't kneel on that one. Ow. Oh, God. Okay. Remember to stretch, friends. Oy. Wow. Come on. As to the lethality. Yes, exactly. Best survival strategy, take small bites with long pauses. You know, in case anything happens. Just because reasons. No particular why. Just, in case. Or suddenly develop a massage. I mean, that is one way to play it. Definitely. That is definitely one way to play it. Alright. So, oh yeah. Side note, right? I found my OG high school copy of 12th Night back when the new editions were the Signet Classics, like the newly revised edition with the half colored in cover for like $4. This is a game of how do we not piss off SLJ by refusing his food. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I appreciate that you made food, but like, I also want to not die. Which incidentally is why I haven't done fieldwork much. Like, especially for ethnobotany, because most fieldwork that comes up as a thing is, in areas that traditionally you're hosted by a family, and it's rather rude to refuse food. Even when you're allergic to everything. But like, I have this thing, right, where if there's like additional stuff, so like there's a lead up to the actual play, so like, okay, put a tab there, and then there's, some commentary at the end, so you put a tab there to mark where it is, so you have designated where the actual, like, the source material is, and then you have, like, the extra bits on either end. And then I realized that high school me already did that, back when I was still dog-earing pages. Because now, I'm perfectly fine to, like, highlight and write in stuff, but, like, folding the pages is that's a no. That's a no for me. But also, like, this is also from the era in which, A, before sprayed edges were a thing, and B, when I was, armed with highlighters and, decided to make the book more interesting, Which, for that one, it was just like, I have a highlighted me, but my copy of The Skies of Pern has a full rainbow on it in alternating triangles because I was so bored and trying to get through that thing. It's like, if I remember right, it's this thick. And it's like, it's literally just world building and talking about how there's dragons there. Like, there's no action, there's from what I remember, there's literally nothing that happens. It's just, this is Pern. There are trees. There are critters. Because, just as I am now, at the time, the stubbornness levels are like, up here. I've learned to recognize it and kind of sort of have a better handle on it at this point, but like, also, recognize that still very much a thing. So there's that. But yeah, no, when when I managed to pull it out of the closet or the shoebox wherever it got shoved, I'll show y'all the artistic masterpiece that is the edges with that thing. Mostly because some part of my brain figured, like, if I could make it look cool and be all rainbowy and stuff, then I'd actually want to pick it up and finish reading it, because, like, it's dragons, so obviously it's dragons, so, like, I want to read it because it's dragons, and dragons are awesome and stuff, like, obviously. And that was either right before or right after, I read the Harper Hall trilogy, so yeah. Yeah, like they turned out pretty cool. I find it hilarious that that was like 15-year-old me's attempt at getting back into a book that was so boring to me. And now there's special editions that have like stenciled sprayed edges and everything, and like there's me with my pack of highlighters sitting outside at lunch at high school, like on the on the brick planters, just like coloring the pages. Okay. So, what's the best approach when you become a movable object? See, that's the question, isn't it? Most of the time, okay. Ow. Most of the time, the narrative that's going in the headspace when that happens is like, no, you could totally finish it. It's just like it'll totally get better, like in the next chapter. Like just give it like another like 5 chapters. It's fine. Like you can just sit here for like another hour reading. It's fine. Or like walking or whatever. So if that's broken, like if it's like you realize that you can put it down, right? Like you don't have to keep reading it, right? Like that is a thing that you can do. Sometimes just that is enough to be like, all right. Never mind. So, yeah. Honestly, today's special shoes have their origins in 90s kids and pens, highlighters, paint. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true, yeah. I don't remember if it's still a thing or not, but I know a couple years ago the light up shoes were back as a thing, so there's that. I don't know. Okay, so it is 8 now. We've been on for give or take almost 3.5 hours. So I think it's about time to call it a night. Yeah, yeah. Admittedly, it was a fun time, so there's that. So, yeah. 'Cause, yeah. Head's feeling kind of floaty. Mostly because I need food. Yeah, it really did. It really did. So, that's fun. That's fun indeed. Oh, yeah. So, for anyone who hasn't already seen the notes and whatnot, or wasn't here for Monday, which one did we leave off on? I can't remember. That's not the page. 19. There we go. Oh, jeez. Yes. Okay, so, okay, we're definitely going over there. Alright, so, Monday at presumably 4 p.m., unless something else happens and we have to move it again, like we did for this week. Chapters 19 to 28 will be discussed, at which point we will be exactly, it looks like, halfway through, because this is the, where is it? This is where we are now, and then this is where we're gonna be. So yeah, there's that. Okay. Let's... Yeah, okay. 27, 19 to 27. There we go. Yeah, it's math. Yeah, exactly. Up to 28. I have the bookmark at 28 right now, and it's like, tired brain needs food. That's what I've deduced for right now. Okay. Okay. Thank you much, everyone, for hanging out and being generally awesome. Much appreciate to all you who are here, who have been here, who are going to watch the shortened by however much version of this that's going up on the YouTubes eventually. Much appreciate. So, without further ado, let's raid Bean. They are fab. If you have not, okay, come on. If you have not met Bean, they are a fabulous streamer of the artistic variety. And are generally awesome. I'm gonna unplug the mic and we'll see. Come on. See y'all later, friends. Bye now.